It might ask you to confirm. And we'll get started. So, welcome everyone to this somatic workshop, somatic movement, dance, meditation, and creative flow journaling workshop. Um, yeah, the recording is just going to be my screen, so nobody else will be picked up on it. Okay, it's just me. Yeah, but you can have your camera off if you'd prefer to just be in your own space, nobody around. Okay. So welcome everyone, and welcome if you are watching the recording of this. Just to introduce myself, my name's Sophie and I'm an artist, as you might be able to tell by all of the art in my room, a yoga teacher, and I'm training to be a somatic teacher and coach for women. If you're not sure what a somatic teacher or a somatic coach is, they basically empower people to take care of themselves through body focus practices and tools to help you feel more connected within, learn to feel safe and to trust your inner experience. And as a coach, we focus on where you are in your present situation, and we work together, we collaborate to inspire you to maximize your potential and orient towards more well-being, more growth and transformation in your life, whatever it is that you want to work on. The somatic teaching and coaching that I do aims to help you to regain trust and love in your body, to learn to find joy, creativity, and find more sustainable, joyful, and compassionate practices for yourself. And I've been running yoga and art workshops since 2020. I started online. And over that time, I've done them in person. I run yoga and art day retreats, and it is all about bringing adults into a safe, welcoming space where we can express ourselves creatively, joyfully, playfully, and learn to find that trust again if we've lost it or if we haven't made art since we were a kid. And yeah, it's just about kind of exploring that and seeing how can we bring more joy and play into our lives in amongst maybe the chaos and the challenges that we face. This is my first workshop of this particular style, so it is a learning for me, and any constructive feedback will be appreciated. Just a little explanation of the intention behind this particular workshop. So it is to provide a safe, welcoming space for adults who want to invite a little bit more creativity and self-expression into their lives, perhaps to help balance work and pleasure. And remember that life, although it can be challenging and chaotic, we can still experience trust and joy and fun and learn tools to support that. And there might be some resistance, there might be some limiting beliefs around creativity or self-expression or around your body and your movement. So it's useful to have a safe space to explore that slowly. Allocating more time for embodied, joyful, playful, creative movement that allows you to connect with your body and move it with love and for pleasure, not for punishment or pain. Allocate time to rest and explore your inner experience through somatic meditation to help enhance your imagination, your creative output, and start to listen to your soul's calling, whatever that might be. Maybe it's your inner essence, your inner light, what you want to express and put out into the world. And then to explore some flow journaling to help you reflect on where you are right now, any resistance that you might have towards movement or creativity, and just kind of clear a little bit of space in your mind for any creative insights to come through. little bit of housekeeping. Safety first. Sorry if all of this is a little bit boring to start with. We will get moving. There are just things that I really need to say. Safety first. We're all in our own spaces. And when we are moving around, depending on how much you choose to move, just make sure that you're not going to knock into anything. You're not going to hurt yourself. And if you've got any injuries, any niggles, to be really mindful of those and just pay attention. That is the somatic approach, really paying attention to the sensations of your body and how you can support yourself in the moment. Go to the loo whenever you need to, drink water whenever you need to, stop, pause. Remember, everything is a suggestion and an invitation to try it out. See how it feels for you. Start listening within, see how it resonates in your body, and take it as slowly as you need. It's up to you how much or how little you participate, but as best you can, be open, curious, and kind to yourself during the session. One of the main intentions of all the workshops that I run is to reconnect with playfulness and joy and curiosity. So how might you be able to do that throughout this session without putting loads of pressure on yourself? We will, as I said, it's going to be recorded, but you won't be seen. You can have your camera on or off, whatever feels more safe for you. And we will stay muted, but if you need to unmute and speak at any point, then you can. I just ask not to unmute during the meditation part. But yeah, if you do have any questions, you can either type it in the chat box or you can ask. Little outline, we are going to start with arriving, grounding, breathing, a little bit of slow movement to help us check in. And these are self-regulation practices, so we can start to notice how is our nervous system, how are we feeling as we arrive here today, and we can connect more safely with our inner experience. I will invite you to play music then as we start to move into a little bit more movement and maybe some dance if that is why you are here today. We'll then start to slow it down. We will rest with a meditation to encourage a bit more space and clarity in your mind and just start to get you thinking about your creativity and maybe boost your imagination a little bit. Then we'll have a quick break, pop to the loo, grab a drink, and we will return for some flow journaling. Does anybody have any questions or anything that they would like to say or share before we get started? Right. So first of all, we're going to take a moment to properly arrive. Arrive in your body and arrive in your space and with your breath. And you can choose to do that sitting, standing, or lying down. I'm going to get up and stand because I'm feeling nervous. So my energy is quite up here at the moment and I need to just get up and move that about and move that out of myself. So you can choose. If you want to stay seated, you could start to maybe shift a little side to side or maybe bring some shoulder rolls in. What movement would feel really welcome to you right now? Just to help you start to connect to your body. There's no right or wrong. You might even take a few deep sighing breaths. In through the nose, out through the mouth. And this is a part of a somatic check-in. And the somatics relates to our nervous system. It relates to sensations in our body. Maybe there's some tension today. So you might move into those areas. You might feel like you need to take a big stretch. You might want to wrap your arms around yourself, give yourself a hug, and maybe a gentle sway from side to side. I will give suggestions throughout, but really it is about finding what works for you, what feels nourishing for you, what feels safe for you. And as you start to move and check in and notice how you are as you arrive, you might notice that you're feeling a little bit nervous, that you're feeling a little bit unsure, especially if you haven't done somatic practices before. Or maybe you're worried about the dancing. And we can allow everything to be welcome. Whatever you are arriving with, it is all welcome. And these practices can help bring you into the present moment. They can help you to feel a little bit more grounded. And as I said, they can help to regulate your nervous system. Start to feel the support of the floor beneath you. So if you're standing, start to sense the floor underneath your feet. If you're sat on a chair or lying down, the same thing, noticing the support underneath your pelvis or maybe underneath the back of your head. And really bringing yourself into the space that you are in by sensing the floor, the support underneath you, your body moving in the space. You might be starting to notice your energy levels here. Maybe you're feeling a little bit tired. Maybe you've had quite a busy morning. Or maybe you've got quite a lot of energy, so you're doing a little bit more expressive movement, but we don't have to go all in. Just bit by bit, little by little. Making sure that you're breathing, so maybe slowing down your breath. You might breathe in and out through your nose if that feels available today. If you're feeling tired, take some deeper breaths into the belly, expand the rib cage, and let the breath out through the mouth. If you're feeling the opposite, if you are quite nervous, or if your energy may be feeling a little bit overactive, take some slow breaths in and some long breaths out, signaling to your body that it's okay to slow down. And we can even take a moment to look around the room. So orienting in your space. And just looking out for anything in your space that makes you feel safe, that makes you feel supported. Maybe it's a blanket, maybe it's a piece of artwork. That acknowledgement that we are in a safe space within our own environment. Really paying attention to what comes up for you in your body. How are you feeling as you arrive? Remembering that everything is welcome. Maybe there's a little bit of uncertainty, maybe there's resistance, maybe there's excitement. Maybe you are feeling tired. And once we know how we are in this moment, we can ask ourselves, how can I take care of myself? How can I take care of my needs? If you have an injury or something going on in your body, you move a little bit slower in those areas. If you are feeling tired, maybe you take it just that little bit slower. So you're not exerting too much energy. And this gentle movement can really help us connect to our inner landscape. Your nervous system speaks the language of sensation. That's why we get sweaty palms, racing heart when we're anxious. And that's why we feel calm and relaxed when we are safe. Making sure that you are breathing, slowing it down. And with openness and compassion, noticing how you are today. Remembering that it can be a combination of feelings, sensations, emotions. So how can you take care of your needs throughout this session today? How can you support yourself? How can you orient towards some more nourishing, nurturing, and sustainable practices? And throughout the practice, if anything does feel unsafe or uncomfortable, you can always come back to orienting, looking around the room, connecting with something in your space that makes you feel supported, that makes you feel grounded. Connect with the floor beneath you or the surface beneath you. So that real sensation of grounding and being in the space. Or it could be slowing your breath down. Eyes can be open or closed. And we'll just take a few more moments here. You might invite your body to feel just a little bit heavier into the support beneath you. You might be coming to find a little bit of a quieter, maybe a still space. If it resonates with you, you could always bring one hand to your heart, one hand to your belly, or both hands to your heart. And if you'd like to set an intention, you can do that now. And this could be your reason for being here today, something that you want to get out of today, or something that you want to take forward into the rest of the year. Might be allocating more time for creative self-expression, playfulness, releasing any resistance or sluggish energy. Or it might be honouring the time of year, winter, and just taking it a little bit slower, giving yourself permission to go a little bit slower. Repeating any intentions to yourself 3 times. It could be a word, a statement. And noticing how that feels in your body to repeat that word or those words to yourself. And you might want to write it down. So if you've got a piece of paper or if you've got a journal, you can quickly make a note of any intentions, anything that you want to remember or come back to later. You can do that now. We're going to start to play some music. So we'll be moving into the movement and dance section. So deciding what playlist you would like. I'm going to go with something a little bit more upbeat, and it's going to be in my ear, so hopefully it won't show up on the recording. And if it feels available, come to stand. But remembering that this is led by you. You can choose to sit down, you can stand, you can lie down. It's all about responding to your body, what you need in the moment. I'm going to give suggestions. And I'm going to start standing. Making sure that you've got space around you. If you're on a wooden floor, maybe not having socks on unless you feel confident that you're not going to slip over. Giving yourself a bit of space. And maybe starting to just shift from foot to foot. Eyes can be open or closed. Maybe starting to wiggle into the fingers, roll into the wrists. Starting to sense into your body once again. The floor underneath your feet. And starting to roll through the shoulders. You can follow along with me, or you can start to move in any way that you feel that the music is inviting you to move. If you're not sure, just starting off with these really simple movements that maybe we do on a daily basis together if you come to my classes or on your own. Turning your head from side to side. And of course, making sure that you are breathing. And maybe you breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth, or in through and out of your nose. Warming up your body a little bit, rolling the head round in one direction. Inhaling up one side and exhaling down the other if you like to sync breath and movement. Are there any areas that need just a little bit of attention right now? Any areas of tension? You might start with your joints, rolling the ankles, wiggling the toes. And this might feel quite unfamiliar because it's led by you. And if you're not used to that, that might feel uncomfortable. So what movements could you do that make it feel okay for you? It might be uncomfortable, but it's safe enough. Maybe finding some length down both sides of the body. If you feel restricted in the front of your body, you might take your arms out wide. Give yourself a bit of space. How does the music feel in your body, and what parts of your body want to move? Listen to how your body wants to move. And if we can allow ourselves to listen, it will tell us. There might be some self-doubt, there might be some judgment, and we can allow that to be there. But can we also allow ourselves this space to just move without being watched? There's nobody else around you, it's just you. You might allow your breath to guide the movement. And I do encourage that. Notice if you tend to hold your breath as you concentrate on the movement, and can you let the breath flow and the movement follow? And responding to the music when it starts to change, there might be some pauses in between songs. And all the time paying attention to your energy levels. Maybe you close your eyes or have a soft gaze. And try not to move like me. Move in your own way. Because there'll be things that I do that won't feel right for you. And it's just trying to allow for that little bit of trust. Trust that your body knows what to do. You can use the space as much as you need, as much as you have. And there might be some movements that come through that are quite similar to other things that you do. So it might be, if you do yoga, there might be some movements that are quite familiar to yoga postures or shapes. And that's okay. Make sure you're breathing, keep coming back to the breath. How can you move your body in a creative way? But if you're not ready for that, if you want to take it a little bit slower, that's okay too. We can still move creatively in a very, in a smaller way, not smaller, I don't like that word, but we don't have to be out here and big movements. We can keep them quite light. But notice when the resistance comes up, if it does, and we allow that resistance to be there. Maybe it feels quite a big resistance, so maybe you shake a little. Responding to your space as well, if you need to move anything out of the way. Being with your embodied, felt experience as it's unfolding, moment by moment. Responding to any sensations, any feelings, emotions, thoughts that might be coming up. Remembering we can always stop, we can pause, we can slow down, we can come back into the room at any point. I invite you to have fun with it, explore. Might even just be moving your hands. Remember, you can always change the music as well. So if your body responds in a way that you don't like the music, it's not feeling right, you can always change it. Keep remembering to come back to kindness, compassion for yourself, curiosity. And what would you like to explore here? It might be playfulness, it might be joy, self-expression, might be moving some sluggishness or some stagnant energy, might be giving yourself a little bit of a boost during winter, or slowing it down. If you're noticing any particular thoughts or sensations that are coming up, you might acknowledge that by saying, something in me feels, something in me feels open, something in me feels joyful, something in me feels resistant. Remember, if you need to slow it down, slow it down. If you need to sit down, sit down. If you need to lie down, lie down. How can you support what you need? Keep checking in. Notice how your body is responding to the different movements. Keep coming back to that somatic check-in. And if the music has started to slow down a little bit, you can slow down a little bit too. And if you haven't already, we'll start to slow it down. You might turn the music down. Or if you are using a Spotify playlist, you could put The Healing on by Essie Jane. And if you're standing, stay standing. Shifting from foot to foot if you feel like you need to sit down, if you need to lie down. We're just going to take a moment to notice, observe how you feel. You might notice that your heart is beating a little bit faster. You might feel really warm. You might have shifted something. You might feel more free. You might not. And again, everything is welcome. There's no expectation from this. And these things can take time to notice and to process in our bodies. Checking in with the breath. And there might be some movement that you still need to do. So a bit of a cool down, but just keeping the movement going. You might roll through your neck, your shoulders. There might be some final little stretches that you want to take. And we're going to start to settle into a comfortable position for our meditation. You can do this sitting or lying down. But making sure that you are fully supported. So if you are sitting, make sure that you've got something behind you, some pillows, some support. If you're lying down, pillow under your head, maybe some pillows under the knees. And if you are still playing music, if there's a playlist going, you can start to turn that down, or I'd say turn it off. Just in case, you never know what's going to pop up. So finding a little bit more of a quieter space. Making yourself as comfortable as you can be. If you need to keep a little bit of movement going, just some really slow, gentle movement, you are welcome to. If you're lying down, you could always bring a slight bend to the knees and let your knees drift from side to side. Or if you're sitting up, a little sway from side to side can always feel quite soothing. Inviting your body to rest in whatever way feels suitable for you right now. Being supported by the surface beneath you, allowing your arms and your legs and your pelvis to feel just that little bit heavier. Noticing those areas that make contact with the surface beneath you. And acknowledging that sense of grounding, of being in your space, sensing your physical body. And you might take a slow but deep breath in, send it down towards your belly button. And let it out with a sigh. And feel free to do that a few more times. In through the nose, down towards the belly button, out through the mouth. And you might choose to do a little bit of orienting here. So slowly scanning your room, observing the safety of your space around you, the comfort of your room. And this safe container for your self-expression, however that showed up today. And at any point during this meditation, you can bring your awareness back to something in your room, something that makes you feel comfortable or grateful or content. And if it feels safe to do so, you might close your eyes or just allow your eyelids to be heavy. If you're lying down, you might even place something over your eyes. And there's nowhere else that you need to be. There's nothing else that you need to be doing. Really give yourself permission to rest, providing yourself some space for gratitude, curiosity, clarity, and whatever it is that you need in this moment. Your reason for being here. Allow your breath to be natural. And start to move your awareness through your body, observing any sensations that are present within. What might be present from that movement and dance practice? What can you feel here? Perhaps it's some areas of warmth, pulsing, heart beating, a little bit of sweat, coolness, tingling. Remind yourself that whatever is present is welcome. How is your nervous system responding? And this practice can help us learn and understand what works for us, what feels welcome and pleasant, and what doesn't. Maybe there's something in between. As best you can, really start to listen in. You might be able to hear the sound of your breath, the sensations of your breath. And there's no need to overanalyze or pick anything apart, just making a mental note of what's coming up and being as curious as you can be. Being curious is key to being creative. Curiosity fuels our imagination and can prompt us to approach problems with a fresh perspective. We are open and receptive to ideas and learning and allowing ourselves to make mistakes. But we can always have another go in a new or a slightly different way. Notice if you're gripping or tensing in any part of your body. And with a long exhale, either out through the mouth or the nose, seeing if you can soften those areas. Maybe they go, maybe they don't. Again, we don't need to judge it. Taking a nourishing and loving breath into any areas that feel tight or tense or resistant. And breathing out to soften or with compassion. And if it feels available, start to breathe in and out through your nose. But find a rhythm of breath that works for you that remains a little bit more effortless and relaxed. And as you settle into your breath, if you set an intention at the start of the session, you might repeat this to yourself now. And how does it feel in your body to repeat those words? And placing that intention at a space in your body that feels really supported. It could be your head, back of your shoulders, it could be your heart space, it could be your stomach. Can you sense an area that feels really supported? And place that intention at that space. Bring your attention to the soles of your feet. You might even give your toes a little bit of a wiggle and just notice how that feels in the soles of your feet. Or you could spread your toes and draw them up towards you. But you don't have to stop movement from happening if you want it to. Or you can just allow your feet to rest, soften into the toes. And start to scan up through your body, through your legs, through your pelvis, through your torso, right up to the crown of your head. Getting a full overview of how your body is in this moment. And I invite you to connect with a part of your body that you feel grateful for following on from that movement session. Maybe a part of your body that moved in a particular way, how it danced, how it expressed itself. If there was some tension or resistance, you might even be grateful for that. There's no need for perfection or this is this way or that way. Just you connecting with your body and the calling of your creative expression from your soul. Is there an area that you are grateful for? It could be your breath for providing much needed oxygen, your legs, your heart. There's no right or wrong here. And there might be a sensation around this particular area, this part that you are grateful for. And take a few nourishing breaths here, connecting with this part, really acknowledging it with pure gratitude and thanks. And if it feels challenging, that is okay, and that is very normal. Perhaps there is some really small part that you can be grateful for. And it can be resistance. With kindness, can you notice what that resistance is? Can you be curious about the resistance and make a little bit of space for it? We don't need to push it away. Remembering that your body is just trying to keep you safe. It wants to support you. How can you listen with empathy and openness in this moment? Start to bring your awareness back to your breath, keeping it as easy and as effortless as you can. And as best you can, visualize your breath as your creativity or your own creative self-expression. How might this look? How might it feel or be within you? It could be a particular feeling. It could be a color, a wave, a bright light. If you could visualize your breath as your creativity, what would it be? It could be a feeling of joy or playfulness. And there might not be a really obvious response to this. It might take a little bit of time to listen, so it's okay if nothing comes up today. We can always come back to this. And start to sense your breath moving around your body. Sense your creativity moving around your body. If it's a color, you might imagine that color flowing through your body or that bright light, or a feeling, a sensation. It could be a little fuzziness of joy. Taking a slow but deep breath in, send it down towards your belly, into your ribs, up through the chest, filling up your torso with this feeling or sensation of creativity, joy, or expression. Breathing out to release any gripping, any holding, allowing yourself to soften here as you observe. Reminding yourself that you are safe, you are resting. And if you sense any resistance, any tightness, sluggishness, how might you be able to make peace with that? Again, giving it some space to be, knowing that it's something within you that's trying to protect you. How can you nurture this and still allow yourself to be free, creative, and joyful? We'll take around 5 more slow, steady breaths here. And perhaps each inhale widens your curiosity, your perspective, your creative output. And each exhale reminds you that you are safe. You can soften into resistance and into your inner wisdom. And resting here for a few moments longer, noticing if anything came up for you, any insights, thoughts, shifts. And start to invite a little bit of movement back in, reconnecting with your physical body, with your breath, with the space around you. You might blink your eyes open if they're closed, or you might keep them closed for just a few moments longer. And start to move a little more. You might need to take a full body stretch, or you might bring your knees to your chest, give yourself a hug. Bringing in whatever movement you need to here to help you come back round if you've been still the whole time. And if there's anything that you need to jot down, so if anything did come up, any insights, you might just take a moment to scribble them down. And we're going to take a little break. It's about 5 minutes. We have run over a little bit. My timings are a bit off today, but we are learning. So 5 minutes, go to the loo, grab a tea, move your body if you feel like you need to, and I do encourage you to move a little bit. And then we're going to come back and get into our flow journaling. So make sure that you've got everything with you. And I hope you're all okay. I'm going to pause the recording. So welcome back from your break. So now we're going to do some creative flow journaling. We probably won't get through them all, but I'm going to send you them anyway. I've got 4 or 5 prompts, but with these things, you can take some away and do them at your own time and leisure. And what is flow journaling? So basically, we set a timer. We have a question or a journal prompt. I set a timer, and for that amount of time, whether it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, you just write whatever comes to mind. It doesn't need to be coherent or perfect. There doesn't need to, don't have to spell check it. Without censoring yourself, you write what's on your mind. And then you can go over it later and you can just look at, what's come up for me here? What little insights have I had? Your journal, or if you're just using a piece of paper, that is your safe space. Raw, unedited. I think even in journals, we can be a little bit resistant with ourselves or not want to put something in there. Just you write whatever feels comfortable for you to write, but as best you can, you just go with it. If you want to put a bit of music on for this and have something in the background, that's fine. The playlists have got some extra music in there. And because we are running out of time, I was going to do 10 minutes each. I want to get through the first 2 at least, but then I want to have a little bit of time at the end just to kind of check back in and reflect and move if you need to. So I'm going to give you, I will give you 10 minutes. Where are we? Yeah, and we'll get through the first 2 at least. And then I'll send you the rest and you can do them at your own pace. So I'm just going to quickly show you my journal. Ta-da! This page says, how can I take care of myself? And then I've kind of coloured in what I need to do to take care of myself. And I like to use crayons because it's the easiest, most accessible thing and just colour in little bits. But I do also paint in my journal. And I will write first and then I will paint over it and colour over it. Or I'll, maybe paint some flowers first. Today at the top I put hello, and then I wrote down what my practice was that I did this morning, so breath work. I wrote down how I felt today. And you can literally do whatever little doodles and colours you like. And that's my I am abundant regardless of my bank account. I think we can all do with that sometimes. So that can come after. Right now, let's just get on to the flow journaling. And then if you want me to show any other pages, I can do that. So first 10 minutes, the first question is what inspires you and makes you feel joyful or playful? What inspires you and makes you feel joyful or playful? And if nothing comes up, what do we do when nothing comes up? Well, we write down, you can write whatever you want. I would tend to write, I have no idea, I have no idea, I have no idea, over and over until something else comes up. Write whatever thoughts are in your head. What inspires you and makes you feel joyful or playful? And if you do get a little bit stuck and you really don't know what to write, come back to your body and your breath. Maybe take a moment to sit back, bring some movement in, connect to your heart, have a think about what might have come up for you whilst you were moving and dancing. If you've written a few bullet points down and then maybe sat there twiddling your thumbs, you might want to elaborate a little bit on those. Go into a little bit more detail. Maybe think about writing down how it would make you feel, how it does make you feel, those things. So yes, joyful and playful, but what else comes out of that? What do you get out of that? How does that make you show up in your life? And you can also, I might add in the second question here, just to kind of give you a little bit more of a prompt if you would like it, is what is one creative, joyful or playful thing that you would love to commit to? So out of what you've written, what inspires you? What is one thing that you could commit to this year and how can you realistically show up for it? I will send you that question and then you can elaborate on it, maybe set a timer for 10 minutes and do it again. But listing all the steps that you need to take, buying materials, allocating time in your week or month, and having a list of simple ideas. We've got about 2 minutes left. And if you are watching the recording, you can always pause this section and take it at your own pace. You might keep writing, or there might be a natural ending where you just kind of think, oh, I've managed to get everything down that I wanted to. So, you don't have to fill the 10 minutes, but there's a difference between not knowing what to write and not being able to connect with it and just writing everything down and then running out of things to say. Writing down as much as you can. And we've got 1 minute left. If you have finished, you can always go and read over for this last minute, reading over what you've written. And coming to the end of your sentence or words. And time is up. So just taking a moment to pause, have a drink, move if you need to, little stretch, wiggle the fingers, roll the wrist. I just wanted to show you this page, but I think it's probably my favourite page, which you might have seen from my advertising of this workshop. So in the middle, you are seen, loved and heard. So if you have an intention for today, you could write it out like this in the center, draw a little heart, and then crayons around the edge or paint. This is such a good book because the pages are thick enough to paint in and that's that fun one. Samhain. You can't read what I've written because I just painted over it, and that's fun too. Hide it away from prying eyes. Okay, second question. What resistance or insights, or both, do you notice when it comes to expressing yourself? What resistance and or insights do you notice when it comes to expressing yourself? Yeah. Yeah, I'll type it out. What resistance or insights do you notice when it comes to expressing yourself? And that's and or, so there might be both. Ah, how come it feels uncomfortable? Can you write down why it feels uncomfortable? Yeah, you don't have to answer that out loud. I'm just, yeah. Is it the resistance or the insights? Or just, or both? How can you be compassionate to yourself? Make space for it. Make space for the uncomfortable feelings. Yeah, and that's so true of a lot of people, realizing that, yeah, thinking that you have to be good at things. Perfectionism. I get that too. Got about a minute left. Because creativity for creativity's sake isn't really valued in the world. Yeah. And we have to take that back. And we can do it ourselves. I think because oh yeah, and I think Instagram and social media has a lot to blame for that because we're just putting pictures. It's that wheel of we've got to put a picture out, especially as a creative, as an artist. I've got to make a picture. I've got to put it out there. It doesn't get seen. It gets, and then it feels like your time is wasted. But that's why we take it back. We don't have to share everything that we do. Okay, so we're coming to the end. We've just come to the end of that one. That's some really good insights there, though. It really is. And that's a big resistance for a lot of people and a lot of artists as well. How can you take back your creativity and, yeah, not have to share it with anybody else? Maybe taking a moment to look over what you've written. What time are we on? 20 past. I've got time for another question, but not 10 minutes. So we're going to do another one, which I think might be, I'm going to change it a little bit. So what I wrote was, if fear, judgment, and self-doubt and social media weren't a thing, how would you express yourself creatively? What would you do? How would you show up for it? If fear, judgment, self-doubt, and social media weren't a thing, how would you express yourself creatively? And we've got 5 minutes for this one, but this one might be one that you want to do later, maybe take 10 minutes over it or come back to it. And it might be that you reconnect with how you created as a child and how you're, and can you invite, if it feels safe, can you invite your inner child to come forward and create with you? And it's making something for the pure joy of making. And that's what I like about my workshops. It's about trying to Maria in the Sound of Music. What was that? I can't remember what that was in. I've only just seen it. What was that in connection to? For me, this year, with my creativity, because I feel the same, if I have to make something creative and for income purposes, and that's a killer. That's a killer for creativity. So allocating time to purely play for yourself. Yeah. Join an Amdram. Yeah. Self-employed life. How can we allocate time? Got about 2 minutes left on this one. If fear, judgment, self-doubt, and social media weren't a thing, how would you express yourself creatively? Into the final minute. We're coming to the end of this question. So any last words, statements, scribbles of frustration? And we've come to the end of that question. And you can reflect over these after or later, or you can just put it to one side and not read it again. It's entirely up to you. Let's bring some movement back into our body. So for these last few minutes of the session, coming back to moving, stretching, feeling the surface beneath you. So those practices that we did at the start, grounding. Maybe if you want to stay seated, you can stay seated, but you might sit back and still bring a little bit of movement in. And allow yourself to check in. Notice how you feel after today's session. Be really, really kind to yourself, especially if that journaling practice brought up some feelings, some emotions. Be really, really kind to yourself. And welcome that in, allow that to be there. There's something there, it's feedback, it's gold. Yes, it can feel really uncomfortable, but how can we make space for it and nurture it? And if you are like, oh, I'm so tense now, get up and move. Move your body, move it out. You don't have to be on camera. You might even stomp around the room. But really try and stay connected to how you are. Sense the surface beneath you. Come back to your breath. You need to shake and bounce and wriggle it out. You might even, after this, leave the session and put another song on and just have another dance. Noticing how you feel after the session, after the workshop, noticing any shifts, insights, thoughts, and of course, being really kind to yourself as you observe. Before I stop the recording, I just wanted to say thank you so much. Sorry, I've got pencils just dropping off the table. I just wanted to say thank you so much for booking on. Thank you so much for being here live. Thank you for listening to the recording, and thank you to anyone that that donated. It's not expected, but it's obviously very much appreciated. And I'm going to stop the recording and just offer some space to talk. I'm going to be here for 15 minutes, so if anybody wants to stay and have a chat or type anything in the chat box, then let me know, or just do that. And I will be sending an email out afterwards with the prompts. And yeah, just to say thanks again. Right, so I need to find the stop recording button.